Welcome to the Data Science Rabbit Podcast, the official podcast of the Data Science Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Michael Bagalman. On this show, we'll be falling down the rabbit hole to talk about teaching marketers data science or data scientists to communicate, how to check that your predictive models are not bigoted, and maybe we'll have a few laughs along the way. So come along and join the fun.
The Data Science Rabbit Podcast with Michael Bagalman.
Introducing our latest sponsor, the keyboard shortcut. Because why waste precious milliseconds of your life reaching for the mouse when you can streamline your workflow with Control-C and Control-V? Keyboard shortcuts, the unsung heroes in the epic saga of data cleaning and pre-processing. They don't just copy and paste data, they copy and paste efficiency directly into your workflow. And let's not forget the magic of Alt-Tab, the real MVP for seamlessly switching tasks when your boss walks by. Join the Shortcut League and elevate your data science game from amateur hour to efficiency expert. In the fast-paced world of data science, those milliseconds add up to seconds, and who knows what you can accomplish with all that extra time. Dig this. A marketer and a data scientist walk into a bar. The marketer orders a round of shots for everyone, while the data scientist calculates the probability of liver failure. That, my friends, is the crux of our dilemma. Now, the question that's been gnawing at my gray matter like a rabbit squirrel on crack: is it easier to teach a marketer data science, or to teach a data scientist how to string together a coherent sentence without inducing narcolepsy? Let's start with our marketing mavens, shall we? These are the folks who can sell ice to Inuit but break out in hives at the mere mention of a standard deviation. But let's be fair to them. Secondary school math education sucks. So unless they had nerd stamped on their souls at birth, they never really had a chance. But here's the critical point. They're motivated. They've seen the writing on the wall, and it's written in ones and zeros. They're climbing aboard the data train faster than you can say regression analysis. On the flip side, we have our data scientists. These numerical ninjas have had more opportunities to learn communication than a politician has had to lie. They've been force-fed Shakespeare, TED Talks, and probably even this godforsaken podcast. Yet, somehow, they still managed to turn a simple explanation into a verbal labyrinth that would make Daedalus weep. So what's the verdict? Well, hold on to your pocket protectors because here it comes. It is easier to teach marketers data science than to teach data scientists how to communicate without putting their audience into a coma. Why, you ask? Because marketers are like those annoyingly perky morning people. They're eager to learn and adapt. They're the golden retrievers of the business world, always ready to fetch that next shiny data bone. Data scientists, on the other hand, are like cats. Sure, they could learn to communicate better, but do they want to? About as much as a cat wants a bath. But let's not write off our socially awkward number crunchers just yet. Maybe they're just waiting for their Susan Boyle moment, ready to burst onto the stage and shock us all with their hidden communication skills. Until then, I'll be over here teaching marketers how to calculate p-values, while simultaneously praying for a data scientist who can explain their findings without resorting to interpretive dance. So the next time you're in a meeting and the data scientist starts spouting off about multivariate analysis and heteroscedasticity, just remember, they're not trying to confuse you. They just haven't learned how to speak human yet. And marketers, when you're tempted to describe your data as really big or super important, take a deep breath and reach for that statistics textbook. Your career may depend on it. In the end, whether you're a marketer learning to love logarithms or a data scientist trying to master the art of small talk, remember this. In the kingdom of data, the one who wears the crown is the one who can translate numbers into narratives without causing mass exodus from the boardroom. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a date with a bottle of aspirin and a stack of marketing reports that look suspiciously like they were written by a random number generator. Until next time, keep your algorithms close and your communicators closer.
Ah, my dear data disciples and guardians of the algorithmic realm, gather round as Cornelius P. Snarkington leads you through the perilous path of ethical predictive modeling, a task more fraught with danger than navigating a Black Friday sale in the very bowels of Walmart. Our mission, to ensure our models are paragons of virtue, not cold-hearted sociopaths in disguise. Let us invoke the spirit of Jane Austen, that illustrious purveyor of quill and wit, who once proclaimed, "It isn't what we say or think that defines us, but what we do." Indeed, her wisdom transcends time, applying not only to Mr. Darcy's brooding charm, but to our data-driven exploits as well. So, enough of the sanctimonious declarations of our ethical commitments. It's time for action. Here's your checklist for crafting ethical models, laced with a touch of, "Oh heavens, we should have done this ages ago." Step 1. Examine systemic variations. Is your model as biased as your cantankerous uncle at Thanksgiving? Scrutinize whether it spews different scores based on race, gender, or age. For nothing screams ethical delinquent louder than a model that devalues individuals based on the mere accident of birth. Step 2. Ensure accuracy. Across groups, if your model is as inconsistent as a stormtrooper's aim for one group, but pinpoint accurate for another, you have a significant dilemma. Equality isn't just a lofty ideal for the physical world. Your model must embrace it with fervor. Step 3. Balance precision and recall. Navigate these metrics with the finesse of a tightrope walker above a pit of lawsuits. A misstep here could plunge you into a public relations debacle faster than you can utter unintended consequences. And remember, balance must be achieved, not just in the overall sense, but across and within each relevant subpopulation. Precision and recall should be meticulously evaluated for race, gender, and other demographics, ensuring no group is disproportionately affected by false positives or false negatives. Step 4. Continuous monitoring. Your model is not a set-it-and-forget-it crockpot. Vigilantly monitor it like a toddler wielding scissors. The world evolves, and your model must adapt or risk obsolescence akin to a flip phone at an Apple keynote. Step 5. Solicit stakeholder feedback. Yes, conversing with actual humans might be daunting, but you must accept that their insights, those affected by your model, might illuminate truths your pristine data overlooks. Astonishing, isn't it? As we return to our digital sanctuaries, let us channel our inner Austen. Strive to be the Mr. Darcy of data science, brooding, intricate, yet ultimately righteous. For in the end, we are judged not by the models we forge, but the ethical principles we uphold. Now, go forth and construct models that are not only intelligent, but also benevolent. Perhaps with such diligence, Jane Austen may cease her restless turning in her grave, granting us all a well-deserved repose. Do you harbor a tale of woe concerning unethical models? Share it in the comments. Let us kindle this discourse. Until next time, keep your algorithms sharp and your ethics even sharper.
I've been called a seasoned data scientist, which is just a polite way of saying I remember when the internet was born and we had to dial in like we were calling the Matrix. Heck, I remember when data science was just called statistics. Back then, we were nerds with calculators. Now we're nerds with supercomputers. It's like upgrading from a tricycle to a Tesla. Back when I got started, my version of A/B testing was flipping a coin. Heads, we go with my gut feeling. Tails, we blame it on the intern. But I've been doing data science since before it was cool. My first model, built with an abacus. My first data storage solution was stone tablets. Seriously, when I started in this field, big data meant anything that didn't fit on a floppy disk. And yes, I mean the actually floppy ones. Used to be that the toughest NLP problem was deciphering my handwriting on punch cards. Trust me, my handwriting made hieroglyphics look like Comic Sans. I trained my first machine learning model on dinosaur data. Predicting T-Rex behavior is tough. Not exactly a walk in the Jurassic Park. Because back in my day, we didn't have fancy tools like TensorFlow or PyTorch. We had to code our neural networks uphill, both ways, in assembly language, and we were grateful. When I started, a data pipeline meant carrying punch cards across the office. Now it's all in the cloud, and the only workout I get is lifting my coffee mug. Without any exercise, most of my overfitting is in my pants, not my models. I hear the phrase spaghetti code, and I start to salivate. Things are different these days. When I started, diversity in data science meant having both frequentists and Bayesians on the team. Now it's about actual human diversity, and that's a good thing. I mean, way back when, the only women in our office were in stock photos for presentations. Now we have real diversity and fewer awkward moments explaining our search history. I remember when we used to joke that the best way to balance gender in data science was to name our computers after women. I'm of a generation that my colleagues choose to remind me every once in a while not to always ask one of the women to take the notes during a meeting. Honestly, that offends me that they think I need to be told that. I mean, none of us wants gaps in the notes when she's out getting the coffee. Don't report me to HR. You knew a joke like that was coming by the time we were about a minute into this. When you hear a guy my age telling jokes, you have to hope that sexist is the worst-ist that any of the jokes will be. Seriously, I may be old, but like a fine wine, I've gotten better with age. At least, that's what I keep telling myself to justify my cobweb-covered vintage collection of statistical textbooks and all the stone tablets in the basement. These days, I'm less hands-on with the data and more hands-on with my blood pressure medication. My job title might as well be Professional Nodder and Buzzword Translator. I spend my days in meetings pretending to understand what the heck quantum-enhanced blockchain synergy means. I used to spend my days writing algorithms and building models. Now I spend my days in meetings discussing why those algorithms and models aren't working. When a model fails, I tell my team just flip a coin like we did in the old days. They think I'm joking. I tell them I'm not, and don't forget to blame the intern. I always figured I was destined for executive life because I have degrees from fancy schools. I had hoped to coast through my career on those degrees, but unfortunately none of my classes provide any guidance at all in preparing TPS report cover sheets. And they don't help much when you're trying to debug 1,000 lines of spaghetti code at 3 a.m. It makes me want those stone tablets back. Having degrees from prestigious schools is like a superpower, but instead of fighting crime, I fight the urge to correct grammar during stand-up meetings. So next time you're wrestling with your latest deep learning model or cursing at your Jupyter notebook, remember this. Somewhere out there are old codgers like me, sipping prune juice and chuckling at your modern problems. Because no matter how fancy your tools get, at the end of the day, we're all just data scientists trying to make sense of the chaos. My chaos just happens to be written in Latin on archival quality paper. Hey, before you go, leave a comment about your most vintage data science experience. Was it debugging Fortran at 3 a.m.? Or maybe explaining to your boss why the company can't just download more RAM? I'm here all week, folks. Please tip your server. But if you have any questions about your meal, just flip a coin. Heads, you enjoyed it? Tails? Blame the chef's intern.
This has been the Data Science Rabbit Podcast, hosted by Michael Bagalman. Find the Data Science Rabbit Podcast on all your favorite social media, including YouTube and TikTok. Follow Michael on LinkedIn or visit datasciencerabbithole.com.